Welcome to FRC Media News for Thursday, February 3rd, 2022. I'm Keith Tebow. We look back at last week's blizzard, which dumped nearly 2 feet of snow here in Fall River. We hear from an FRC Media staff member and her battle against long-haul COVID. And we introduce you to the new executive director of the Fall River Arts and Culture Coalition. All this and more coming up. Fall River is still recovering from last Saturday's blizzard that dropped close to 2 feet of snow here in the city. Cleanup lasted into early this week, with local schools closed on Monday. As with any snowstorm, big issues always arise, with residents adhering to the parking ban. Mayor Paul Coogan tells us 30 cars were towed last weekend.
We did tag, I think, 500 vehicles, and we're going to have to maybe find a way to get more tow operators on the street, but it's a safety issue. It's got to be done, and if people cooperate with us, I'm sure we can get through it. I was hearing from someone in Fitchburg that in Fitchburg, I don't know how they do this, they don't allow people to park on either side of the road for safety reasons. I mean, we're not going to do anything like that in Fall River because there's just absolutely no way to put that many cars. But at the same time, people have to cooperate with us and do the best they can. I had one of my former students tell me he had to walk 2 blocks. If I say, well, it's a blizzard, I'm sorry, but we need to have those roads free for our emergency vehicles and for people, and to plow properly to the curb, at least when we get done the storm. And that's what we try to do everywhere. And we're never going to be 100% successful, but we do what we can.
11 people were displaced as fire tore through an apartment complex on 140 Irving Street during the height of Saturday's storm. Fire crews had a difficult time gaining close access to the fire due to the storm and the lack of adherence to the parking ban. Fortunately, the fire was contained, and a few residents and firefighters suffered only minor injuries.
Because we had so much snow, a lot of those embers fizzled out in the snow on the roofs and of the other houses, which again worked to our advantage. But the wind was whipping, and it was a miracle that the house, 20 feet away from the burning building didn't go up. It did melt on one side a little bit, but the firemen saved that house, and probably by saving that one saved a number more all the way down to Pleasant Street. So they did a great job, and they were up there the next morning. I was up there about 6:45 with the chief, and it was still smoking, but they had it well under control by that point. And the DPW came in and went to work with backhoes, taking out the frozen ice and water and snow and every other thing that was clogging up the streets, and they got that street passable. And you could literally drive down Irving Street a little later the next day. So it was a team effort, and everybody pitched in, and it was a success in a horrible situation. Bad for the families, bad for the neighborhood, but it could have been a lot worse.
Time now for a COVID-19 update. Let's get the latest numbers on cases in Fall River as of last Thursday, January 27th. The city saw a decrease in new COVID cases for the second week in a row. There were 1,285 new cases of the virus in Fall River last week, compared to over 1,800 the week prior. There are now over 28,000 cases confirmed since March of 2020. Vaccinations remain flat, with 68% of city residents having received at least 1 dose of the vaccine, and now 60% fully vaccinated. Fall River continues to host community vaccination clinics across the city. You can find the latest at frvax.com or by calling 833-8VAX-NOW. That's 833-882-9669. You can also find more information from the state's website, vaxfinder.mass.gov, or you can dial 211. A large majority of people who contract COVID-19 recover fully. There are others, however, that have experienced prolonged physical and neurological symptoms. These have been diagnosed as long-haul COVID cases. A member of our FRC Media staff is one of those dealing with the effects of long-haul COVID. Denise Pumagwaye contracted COVID-19 in November of 2020. Following a period of severe COVID symptoms, Denise soon became partially paralyzed, afflicted with Guillain-Barré syndrome, where the body's immune system attacks its nervous system.
The few neurologists that saw me at the hospital, they did say that because I didn't have any other underlying health issues, and I was otherwise healthy and strong, I would recover quickly. And the main neurologists had said that I'd be walking within 2 or 3 months. And I thought that I would be okay in 2 or 3 months. I was walking without a walker in 2 months and a half, but it has taken me over, I guess, 13 months to get much better.
To this day, Denise still experiences physical challenges. She also continues to struggle with migraines and brain fog, which were severe last year.
That had been most of my life this past 2021. It's almost as if I wasn't there the whole year. Like, there have been things going on. I turned 40 last year. I have my family, my daughter turned 12, and there are bits and pieces that I do recall, but most of the time the state of brain fog was too extreme, and the fatigue that I would just do a couple of things and sleep. Like, just waking up and taking a shower or just eating, that used to drain me a lot. And still I have improved to the point where I can go up to 4 hours without getting tired. And once I hit the 4 hours, I either have to take a nap or just sit down for at least 15 minutes to an hour so that I can gather more energy and continue with the day.
Denise is improving and is hopeful that she can return to a more normal lifestyle in 2022.
I am thankful that I'm still here. I am healthy otherwise, but I look forward just to continue doing the things that I enjoy doing, like maybe go camping with my daughter, visit my family in New York. I used to just take my car and drive, and those are things that I can't do for too long yet, like 45 minutes in the car. Like, that's enough for my joints and my brain, kind of. So just taking it one day at a time, being grateful, being thankful, and hoping for improvement. And if not, I'm still here, and I am at a much better place than I was last year.
We here at FRC Media continue to wish Denise a very speedy recovery. Last week, U.S. District Court Judge Douglas Woodlock granted another delay on when former Fall River Mayor Jaziel Correa is to report to prison for his federal fraud and extortion convictions. Correa was slated to report to the Federal Bureau of Prisons facility in Berlin, New Hampshire last Friday to begin serving his 6-year sentence. Judge Woodlock has delayed his reporting date now to February 14th. This is the third time Correa has received a delay in reporting to prison. Judge Woodlock cited high COVID cases in the federal prison for his reason for the delay, but local attorney Steve Sabra believes Judge Woodlock is also using the extended time to deal with another defense motion that's before him.
To me, it's unusual. I think, however, it's dictated by not just COVID in this case with involving Jaziel Correa. I think it's also dictated by this issue of the appeal and the fact that Judge Woodlock, the trial judge in the federal district court, still hasn't decided the defense motion to stay sentence pending appeal. So it could be that he's struggling with his decision on that motion as well, and that's why he hasn't. That's why he's allowed these continuances as far as the defendant reporting to prison.
Correa has appealed his convictions to the U.S. First Circuit Court of Appeals. Sabra says it's likely Judge Woodlock will rule on the motion to stay sentencing prior to his February 14th reporting date. This will make the scheduling of the appeal a bit clearer.
A lot of things are dependent on him making that decision on the motion to stay sentence pending appeal, because either party can appeal that. So, for example, if if the judge allows the motion to stay sentence pending appeal, the prosecution can appeal it to the First Circuit. And so he wants time you need time for that as well. And the opposite, for example, if he denies the motion to stay sentence pending appeal, then the defense can appeal it to the First Circuit, and there'll have to be time for briefs to be filed by either side, and for the First Circuit Court of Appeals to decide that issue before they even get to the issue of the actual appeal itself.
A federal jury last May convicted Correa on 21 of 24 counts of fraud in connection with the operation of his Snow Owl app business and extortion in seeking money from potential recreational marijuana vendors seeking to operate in the city. Judge Woodlock threw out many of the fraud convictions, citing the prosecution did not fully prove its case. Last week, we reported on how supporters of a new Diamond Regional Vocational Technical High School are seeking support from local governments and residents in constructing the $293 million school. Even though the school is receiving $145 million in state funding, it will still need over $190 million from Fall River to pay for its share of construction. Mayor Paul Coogan says that is a big bill for taxpayers, and he's considering seeking their input.
I do support the new school, but I also supported the new Durfee, and they went to the voters, and I'm kind of leaning towards that. Let the voters decide, if they want to spend that kind of money on Diamond. I think they definitely need a new building up there. It's a little dated, although it's a good solid old building, but at the same time there's nothing wrong with them getting a new school. But for those kind of numbers, I think that they should ask the voters. I met with a couple of the proponents of the school the other day, and they already have a significant amount of money in hand to promote the vote. So let's see how it plays out.
If an extension is approved by the Diamond School Committee, they will have until July 15th to seek support from Fall River, Somerset, Swansea, and Westport to move the project forward. Westport and Swansea have already signaled their support for the project. Somerset Town Meeting is expected to vote on whether to disapprove the proposal sometime this spring. The Fall River Arts and Culture Coalition announced the hiring of its first executive director. Ashley Okino comes to the organization with over 15 years' experience in arts participation and administration, most recently at the helm of the New Bedford Art Museum. She tells us her first task is to get a handle on the burgeoning Fall River arts and culture scene.
I really just need to meet everyone. Our work here in the city can really move, they like to say, at the speed of trust. And so I think it's very important that I get to engage with all of the coalition members and those who perhaps haven't had a chance to come to a coalition meeting yet. So for me, it's really about learning all the ins and outs of this beautiful city and learning all of the different thoughts and dreams and aspirations that the creatives here have, and how really I can personally best serve them through my experiences and through my passion as well that I bring to the table.
Miss Okino's work will be driven by the recently completed Fall River Arts and Culture Plan developed last fall.
Our goal is and my goal personally is to foster a vibrant, inclusive, and most importantly, sustainable creative economy for Fall River. And that can take a lot of different forms. And right now you had mentioned that the coalition got started about 2 years ago, and we have about 100 members, and that's fantastic. And I would love to see 200 members come in the next year, and to grow and grow and grow, because this coalition is not just exclusively for those who consider themselves individual artists. I welcome businesses, I welcome entrepreneurs, I welcome students. I really welcome anyone in the community who would love to see the city really just elevate itself and become a beacon for arts and culture, and for really a destination as well.
Ms. Okino is hoping that the coalition and the city can take advantage of arts-related funding that can come from the state, as well as the Federal American Rescue Plan Act. She also says the coalition should be open to learning from others as to what makes a community welcoming to artists.
I think it's not about reinventing the wheel. There's so many nonprofit organizations and volunteer-led organizations right here in Massachusetts, in different cities. Worcester's one of the cities I have worked in, and they are there. And one of the best things that, again, I would say to Fall River as a city, and to those listening and to those statewide, is that being willing and open to exchange ideas and resources and best practices really benefits everyone. And it's really what's going to move all of us forward in a way that I think is going to have the biggest impact, and not just on one little thing here and there, but I mean big picture impact. And it's all about just being able to be open-minded and to be collaborative.
We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center. Facility Support Staff Associate, FMC Ice Sports, located at 272 Ellsbury Street, seeks a part-time Facility Support Staff Associate, responsible for a variety of tasks and functions in the Driscoll Arena to ensure an exceptional customer experience. Job number 161-95320. Irrigation Technician, Brightview Landscape Services is looking for a full-time irrigation technician to troubleshoot, repair, and record detailed inspections of irrigation systems for clients in the Fall River area. Job number 161-90233. Developmental Specialist, People Incorporated, located at 4 South Main Street, is in need of a full-time developmental specialist to serve as an interdisciplinary team member responsible for designing, implementing, and supervising services for each case. Job number 161-90465. Purchasing Clerk, JSI Cabinetry, located at 485 Commerce Drive, is looking for a full-time purchasing clerk. For more information, call 508-675-4722. St. Luke's Health System, located at 363 Highland Avenue, has an immediate need for the following full and part-time positions. Medical Technologist, job number 161-80104. Licensed Practical Nurse, job number 161-80086. For more information about these or other positions, visit Mass Hire JobQuest at jobquest.dcs.eol.mass.gov or call the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
Welcome back. After 36 years in the Fall River Fire Department, the last 6 as chief, John Lynch retired last Friday. He tells us he never thought firefighting would be his career until after he took the fire exam and realized the importance of public service combined with his love of Fall River.
You had to be a team player. This wasn't an individual discipline. You count on one another. And with that teamwork, you also developed what they call in the fire service esprit de corps. You know, you became a family. It was your second family. I loved all that part of it. You know, I loved going, every day was different. You know, in the fire service, you do so many things. It's not just putting out fires. There's a ton of things that happen. You know, we always say that, you know, when people know who to call, they have a problem, who do they call? They call the fire department. And that's true. Every day was different. And that's, I think, what I really enjoyed about it. The camaraderie, the esprit de corps, the hard work, the discipline, the chance for advancement, but every day was different, and every day I looked forward to going to work.
As Chief Lynch rose through the ranks and eventually became chief, the one thing he missed the most is interacting with rank-and-file firefighters. He says among his greatest achievements was ensuring the department had the most up-to-date equipment to do its job.
Our infrastructure was pretty bad. Our trucks were decrepit. And we've basically replaced all that, and we're actually working on a plan to have a regular replacement. Not get to the point where 20 years go by and all of a sudden we go, all the trucks are bad, we got to do something. So there's going to be a regular replacement going. We've started working on fixing the stations up. That's a long way to go. A big thing was our fire alarm system, all right? The municipal fire alarm system. with the help of Cal Sueco, a good friend of mine, and Deputy Chief Seaman, who's now going to be the fire chief, we actually replaced the old 50-year-old system that was broken, unrepairable, constant problems, with a modern, reliable system. It's a radio transmitter system.
Chief Lynch says he's grateful to always have the backing of city residents and those in state and local government.
I think I was very lucky because I had city administrations, city councilors that were always very supportive, and our state representation were absolutely phenomenal in their support also. Like Senator Roderick's was key to this. So he's gotten his grants in the last 5 years that supplements our overtime, right? And that was key because now we could keep our manpower up. Because you need overtime to supplement everything, the sicknesses, the injuries, the vacation time, the big fires, the little fires, I mean, everything. So in that regard, it wasn't so much of a struggle for me. You know, I still had to make my pitch, but I was supported by, like I said, the administration, the city council, and our state representation. Very lucky.
So what's next for Chief Lynch? He tells us he's going to be taking retirement day by day, travel more, and also get back into some of his hobbies he's had to put aside while serving as chief. Happy retirement, Seamus. We will wrap up this edition of FRC Media News right after this.
Hi, welcome to Hot Dogs and Cool Cats. Today we have Miss B here. That's B, like B. Arthur, you could even think of it. She's a 2-year-old female. She is all black except for one little spot of white right there on her chest. She can be a very sweet cat, but she's also a very independent cat. She kind of likes to do her own thing. She loves a nice little hideaway bed where she can hang out. It would be best if she had a calmer home. That was a little bit quieter, that sort of thing. Maybe older children would be appropriate for her. B is very independent cat. While she's been here, she's been in cat communal rooms. She does hang with the other cats. It does take her a little bit of time to get used to them, but I think she would do fine. So if you'd like to meet B, you can come down to 300 Linwood Street in Fall River, Massachusetts at Forever Paws Animal Shelter. Today we have Ednita. Ednita here, she's about 1 year and 4 months, so she's still a very young lady. She actually came to us from Puerto Rico, from a rescue group that we work with down there. She had previously had a very large litter of puppies. She would do well with kids. She's got a high tolerance for kids' antics, which I think you would expect after her having 7 puppies. So Ednita here, she is a Chihuahua mix. She is definitely very mixed, but we surmise that her predominant breed is probably some Chihuahua. So if you'd like to come down and meet Ednita and possibly bring her home, come down to 300 Linwood Street in Fall River, Massachusetts at Forever Paws Animal Shelter.
That's all for this edition of FRC Media News. Please visit our website at frmedia.org for all the latest updates, news, and information. FRC Media News airs Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Fridays at 5:30 p.m. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next Thursday.